Um, and what would you say? Similar question in regard to the music itself. You being
Like
you used to be
like in what way?
a worship people who still they just feel plugged and tethered to Bethel music. Like, what would you
Oh,
say to them?
like they're still invested in that, and they're still, yeah.
Invested in that, the church is singing, the maybe not too related to Bethel, but the singing Bethel songs, Bethel music, and
Yeah.
everything is Bethel style of quote unquote worship. Uh, I'd say. What would you say to them?
That's a hard one, man. There's a so because worship is such a touchy subject. Like as someone who's led worship for over 2 decades, like there are so many styles of worship, both genre, culture. Like worship is one of those things where, like, I remember when I traveled to Brazil and I got to lead worship with them down there, and I thought I was going to be like this slick American guy coming down to lead worship, and like I couldn't keep up with their rhythm, the way they were doing things. It was so different than what I was used to. Like, so like culturally, even was hard to like cross genres there. So like I couldn't even do that. And so I think when it comes to like leading Bethel's music, and let's say music from other people like Elevation or Maverick City,
Mhm.
um, I think you really have to understand what you are doing. So one of my favorite a leader I worked with quite a bit, he would always tell me what a leader does in moderation, a follower will do in excess. So if as
Mm.
a leader, like a great example is like drinking. So like at my church, most like we basically have a rule, basically like pastors aren't allowed to drink at all. And the idea is that it's is it a sin to drink? No, it's not wrong, but is it is if you as a leader justify it, and you can handle it and you can handle your liquor, it may be, what if you have someone who can't, and then they see you doing it and they think, well, my pastor does it, so I guess it's okay for me to do it,
No.
and then all of a sudden they are in a position where they're in a bad spot, right? I think that I take that same concept and apply it to worship. So as a worship leader, even if you think you can delude and discern theologically what part of the song is okay, and work through that, you are still opening up the door for someone to go, well, yeah, I like that song a lot. What song was that? Oh, that was I don't know. We say goodness. It was goodness of God. Who sings that? And you go up, look at Bethel. Oh, Bethel. I wonder what other songs they have. And like they have a massive discography. I wonder what they
No.
teach. And like Bill Johnson has stated clearly, the point of the music is to draw people to the theology.
Wow.
So if you
Mm.
are okay with drawing people to the theology of Bethel, then by all means keep leading it. But I think that there is a theological double standard that most pastors aren't aware of, that they like if you were to like if I came to your church, John, and I said, hey, like I'm gonna bring a guest speaker, most pastors, a good pastor I would say, would do
Mhm.
their due diligence on that guest speaker. Like, what do you believe?
Mhm.
What are you going to
Yeah.
teach? Who are your
Mhm.
references? Are you just some crazy itinerant going around, or are you actually a solid man of the word? What are you?
Mhm.
And they would
Mhm.
vet that person, and maybe even ask for sermon notes ahead of time. Like they would do a lot of due diligence to make sure that, like, hey, I've worked really hard as a pastor here to preserve the gospel and to make sure people know what the truth
Mhm.
is. You better do the
Mhm.
same. Most pastors
Mhm.
don't do that at all with their worship music. They just find some
Mhm.
young guy that knows how to play guitar, and they say, hey, can you lead worship this weekend? I'm old and not relevant, so you do it. and and then they end up doing all these awful theological songs, but they have not done an ounce of discernment on what that song came from.
Hmm.
And so it,
Mhm.
it is a problem in the church. Like Paul Washer put it best, I think, when he said that a worship leader should be the most theologically discerning person in your church.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Like, and I wholeheartedly agree with that. Like, I think I did more damage leading worship than most people did preaching, because I
Wow.
was I was going to churches trying to create environments and trying to help people steward the presence and giving them these crazy holy moments and making them think they were encountering the living God. And it was because of the way we were leading worship. When in all reality, I was more likely just stirring up a bunch of emotionalism, but I've completely changed the direct trajectory of someone's theology because of that. So now they have an experience they're
Mhm.
defining their theology by rather than the word.